Hey there, everybody. It's Nicole, and today is Self-Care Sunday. I apologize for the voice. For some reason or another, I really don't know what's going on as to why I'm losing my voice. I don't think I have a cold. But yesterday, at the beginning of the day, my voice was fine. And then I slowly started to lose my voice as the day went on. And then this morning, I didn't have a voice at all. It was just kind of squeaky. And then right now, this is where we're at. I was hoping that by this time, and it's about 5 o'clock in the evening right now here, that my voice would be a lot better. So we're just kind of gonna go with this. Um, so, uh, so I'm gonna try to keep the video on the short side just because of my voice. We'll see how long I can last before it completely gives out on me. But obviously, I think the reason why my voice is the way that it is I think is most likely that I haven't been doing a lot of very good self-care for myself. I haven't been sleeping well, and my PTSD and my fibromyalgia, along with my sleeping, has not been very good lately. So it's been affecting me quite a lot, unfortunately. So I've been really exhausted. Plus, school is starting on the 2nd of August. Here in Hawaii, school starts a little bit earlier than it does on the mainland. I think most of the states on the mainland, school starts after Labor Day or around that area. So, parents tend to get a little bit more time with their kids than we do here in Hawaii. And for me anyway, I do enjoy spending time with my two kids during the summer and on the weekends. Even if it's just them kind of like hanging out, in their rooms, or them playing video games on their own or whatever, and or hanging out on the couch together, and like they watch YouTube and I watch TV or whatever it is. And I guess for me, quality time doesn't necessarily mean or for me and my husband and I, quality time doesn't always mean like sitting down and playing board games or doing things like that. For me and my husband, spending quality time is just kind of sometimes just hanging out in the same room together, and then it's just kind of chit chatting here and there about, maybe some topic that has come up on the news, or just something funny, or stuff like that. So, and then uh, I do. I do enjoy, like I said, I do enjoy spending a lot of time with them, or just having them around. I'm really close with my kids. I do encourage them to tell me whatever it is that's on their mind, no matter what it is, good, bad, ugly. I want them to be able to trust me enough to be honest with me if there's something that's bothering them, because I didn't have that as a kid. I unfortunately grew up with two narcissistic parents who are very controlling, while I won't say that they were necessarily physically abusive, I did get the things that I need as far as certain aspects of support, but I did not always get the support that I was necessarily looking for. Like, for example, my father, who did pass away suddenly April of last year. He did have a heart attack. He unfortunately passed away by himself. He was a very difficult man to get along with. Very, very difficult. He was very, very demanding, and he expected a lot from me and from my sister. And I do have a younger sister. She's 3 years younger than me. And so things were not always easy for us. And so, which unfortunately resulted in a lot of the mental illnesses that I have now, which is, especially the CPTSD, which, if you don't know what CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's usually something that is associated with some people who are exposed to prolonged emotional, traumatic, emotional traumatic emotional abuse. And so my dad was very much like in your face about like who he was, what he was like, as far as his personality. Like he was your typical old school Japanese samurai type man, where it's my way or the highway type of an attitude. Whereas my mom was a very much covert narcissist, where yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really recognize the fact that she was a narcissist until she's decided, like, suddenly to move in with us. Shortly after our state shut down for COVID, she actually had gotten into an argument with my father. And so she decided at the very last minute to move in with us. And, the plan was, because they were building a house, and that yeah, the whole house thing is another thing that I can cover too as well, just because that also plays into self-care and understanding what is needed and what is not needed as far as self-care. So she was planning on moving in, but she wasn't planning on moving in the way that that it ended up. And so what had happened was, I guess, is that she got into this like big argument with my father once the state had got shut down for COVID. And I want to say it was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the state had shut down for COVID, where nobody was supposed to be leaving their homes. Everything shut down, restaurants, city and county and state offices, businesses, and the whole 9 yards. But she, being the person that she is, decided that because she is my mom and she thinks that she can just do whatever she wants, called me up and said that she was going to be coming over right then and there. She had given me a 1.5 hour lead time to move in. Yes, you heard that right. 1.5 hour lead time to move in with us. And so she called me really early in the morning to let me know that she was bringing all of her things with her, all of her clothes, like her toiletries, the whole 9 yards. And that she was going to be moving in to what used to be my craft room and going to be living with us. Because of the relationship that I had with, had with my parents, no is not an answer that is given. You never, I want to say pretty much in any Asian family, no is not a word that is a part of your vocabulary. You do not get to say no to anything. And so she had brought everything with her, all of her clothes, her work clothes, her makeup, toothbrush, toothpaste, all of her shoes and all that stuff, and moved in. I had to, at the very last second, scramble around. Everybody was still sleeping. Clear everything out of my craft room. I'm talking about all of my resin stuff, all of my yarn, everything out of that room, and try to stick it somewhere for the time being so that she could move in. Now, yes, I could have said no, but being the person, and like I said, the way I was brought up, I couldn't say no. And that, obviously is not okay. That is not a good form of self-care. But I did it anyway. She came over, she moved in, and essentially took over everything. And she stayed with us until the new house that she was getting was completed, which took approximately a little, I want to say close to 2 years. And so, and it was rough. I did not have any time to myself. My family did not have time to themselves. We did not get much time for self-care. I did not get time to myself. She took away my craft room. She took away my art therapy. She took away my safe space that I was able to use to go into, to close the door, to be able to create the things that I wanted to create. No more diamond painting. There was no more resin pouring. There was no more crocheting. There was no more of any of that. And it was rough. It was really rough. And then what made it even more rough, unfortunately, was then, of course, she had decided that I was not being a good enough mother because my oldest was a junior, going to be senior in high school, and for me, college was a big deal. And I don't know how it is for you guys, but college has always been was always a thing that was very important. You have to go to college, otherwise you would be considered a second-rate child. I did not go to college. It was something that I felt that was not for me. So when I lived on the mainland, I didn't go to college. And the funny thing is that when I turned 18, after I graduated from high school, I moved to the mainland because I needed to get away from my parents. I moved back because I wanted my kids to grow up around my grandmother, and be able to have a relationship with my family. And so that's a lot of the reason why we ended up moving back to Hawaii, is because I wanted them to be able to have the experience of that part of my family, because family for me is really important. And so during COVID, it was already tough because COVID. And then, of course, my mental health plummeted a lot. I don't know for some of you if you had difficulties with your mental health, but I know that with a lot of people, the mental health took a hit for a lot for some children, and then for some adults who already had issues with with mental health, it hit them harder. For me, it hit me really hard, because I already was dealing with the bipolar, I was dealing with the PTSD, I was dealing with anxiety, and I was dealing with OCD, I was dealing with panic attacks. And so to add that particular aspect to my life with my mom and her being very demanding, made it even that much more difficult. She also decided that I was not a good mom, and so she tried to parent my children. She would rope us into doing things that we did not want to participate in. Um, uh, you know, they're fixing up the house because they were planning on selling the house that we were living in, because we were living in a home that they owned. My parents did not treat me like I was an adult. They treated me like I was 12, even though I'm in my 40s. And so I had to learn alternative ways to provide myself with some sort of self-care. And a lot of it was us as a family leaving the house, uh, if both. And the other thing is that, as you, I'm sure, are well aware, during the height of COVID, people were not supposed to be going back and forth between homes, or things like that. But my parents, I think my mom even said, or my dad said, that they weren't gonna get it. And that's the reason why they were like, oh, they would be fine with like going back and forth between like my grandma's house, because they were actually living with my grandma because she had Alzheimer's, and then uh, also they, and of course she's also vulnerable, so you would think that they would take that into consideration, but apparently not. But the other thing is that they, they were going back and forth between her house and my house, and I'm also immunocompromised. And so they didn't seem to understand that they needed to take into consideration that they needed to not do that. No matter how many times I asked them not to do it, they would do it. But as far as the self-care, what we would end up doing is that we would, rather than stick around the house, is that we would, the four of us, we would leave the house. We would like maybe go to the mall for a couple of hours, or we would go out to dinner, we would go out to lunch, go to the mall. I think I just said that, go to the mall, or something to that effect, just to kind of get out and away, because they were so very much overbearing. And then on the weekends, they had finally decided that my mom would go and stay over at my grandma's house for the weekend. So that, and it's funny because when my parents would do that, you could literally feel the house like exhale. Like you could feel it like go, because of how much tension there was in the house. And so it would, and um, I I had to learn alternative ways of providing myself with some sort of self-care, um, uh, over the course of the time that she was there, because and eventually I found my voice, and had to finally put my foot down and say no, because uh, physically and mentally I just couldn't do it. My mental status and my physical status was taking a toll, where my doctors were telling me, you need to do something, otherwise it's not going to get better. Things are not going to get better for you. And so and that's the other thing, that's, I guess that's a big part of self-care, is learning when to say no. And it can be hard, especially when it comes to friends or family, is learning to say no, because I know it's difficult to say no to those people who like to take advantage of you, who like to use every single ounce of whatever it is that you've given to them, as you possibly can, that you possibly have in your tank. I have there's like this philosophy, and at my son's school they use this term. It's called bucket fillers and bucket dippers. So bucket dippers are the people who take from you, and bucket fillers are the people who give to you. So you have to learn how to differentiate between those two type of people, that there are those who are bucket dippers, and there are people who are bucket fillers. And obviously you want to associate yourself with people who are bucket fillers. I tend to be a bucket filler to a fault, and which is not healthy. It's not healthy at all. And I have to learn more to be a better person, as far as saying, okay, no, I'm cutting you off now, because you've already emptied my bucket to the point where there is nothing left. And so you yourself have to be able to learn whether or not you are a bucket filler or a bucket dipper. If you are a bucket dipper, you also have to learn to look at yourself and say, okay, I need to be able to change that behavior so that I am also a bucket filler, because you cannot be that type of person that is always taking from somebody, because the people that you're taking from are usually the people that are not going to tell you no. They're not going to say, I've had enough of you taking stuff away from me. Those are the type of people that will continue to keep on giving to you until they have nothing left, until the bucket is completely and utterly dry, and continue to give until they fall over and keel over. And I am that type of person where I will continue to give to you until I keel over when it is completely dry. And so, because I feel like I am not the type of person that deserves to have my bucket filled, ever. And I guess part of that has a lot to do with my upbringing. Sorry. Because nobody has ever really given to me, like my parents anyway, to say that you've done a good job, or that we're proud of you, or that we love you enough to say that uh, that that you're a good person. In the 40 plus years of my life before my father passed away, sorry, my father never ever told me that he loved me. Never. He never said I love you. He never said he was proud of me. He never told me that I did a good job. He was never that person. He was always the type of person that would always criticize me. And for self-care, you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say that you have done a good job. Even if it's yourself telling yourself that you have done a good job, because it's important. Do not be so hard on yourself to criticize yourself, to say that you haven't done a good job, because you have. Even if it's the smallest thing, because you have. If you made it out of bed for the day, if it hurt, if your body hurt today, if you felt really crappy, like listening to my crappy ass voice today, it's okay to say, you know what, I did okay today. But for those who are bucket dippers, you really need to understand that you cannot continue to take and take and take, because it's not fair to the people who are bucket fillers. Because trust me, for those people, they will never say no. For the most part, they will not ever say no. They will continue to give to you no matter what it is, to a fault. And they will give you gifts. They will expend every single ounce of energy just to make sure that you're okay. No matter how tired they are, they will expend that every, that last drop of battery that they have for the day or for the week or whatever it is, just for you. Now, for those of you that are bucket fillers, you also have to look at yourself and say, okay, I have to stop. I have to be able to say, I cannot continue to give so much of myself that you have to be able to say, I have to say no, that I have to have the energy to say enough is enough, that the person that continues to take from me, I need to tell them I can't continue to give to you because you're taking too much from me. I'm slowly learning that, and that's a part of my self-care plan. So it's a two-way street. It's important that on both ends, that you bucket fillers and bucket dippers, that you change your behaviors, that you are able to give, and that you're also able to take. Because as bucket fillers, when you when you get something from somebody that is normally a bucket dipper, you should be able to say thank you and say it's okay to say thank you. And I appreciate the fact that uh, you realize that I needed that something, whatever it is, I don't know, a hug or a little gift or whatever it is, because that bucket dipper realized that you as a bucket filler needed that little bit of energy, that little bit of something, that little bit of a smile or whatever it is, because you'd be surprised how much it means to that person to pay it forward when it comes to loving them a little bit, because a lot of times they don't. And then for the bucket dippers, for you to be able to say, okay, I realize today I need to step back and say, I'm not going to do this today. This is not what I want to do, is also a good form of self-care, because you need to preserve that battery. You need to preserve the energy that you have, because it's important to be able to do that, because you need it to get through the day. It's imperative, I think. So I don't know if any of that helped you. I apologize for the crying. It's I have a hard time like expressing myself when it comes to certain things, just because of who I am. Mainly because 9 times out of 10, I don't think I deserve a single dang thing that I get. When people send me things, or or if I ask for things, like, off of wish lists or whatever it is, if I get it or whatever, I'm like, I feel like I don't deserve I don't I don't deserve any of it. I don't deserve to ask for it. I don't deserve to be the person that I am, because I'm not that worthy type of person because of my upbringing. Because I was always taught, you don't ask. You never ever ask. You don't ask for stuff. It's rude to ask. You don't like, the only time you would ever ask is like you ask Santa for stuff. And that's it. Otherwise, like when I say like I have stuff on my Etsy wish list, or if I have stuff on my Amazon wish list that I would like to like have, or like if I would like to have, like, say like a couple of like furls, crochet hooks, and what I never expect anybody to buy me stuff, because why would anybody bother to spend any of their hard-earned money on me? I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. So it's like, so that's why the tears came, because it's like, who am I? Why would anybody bother to spend money on a nobody like me, a peon like me? Because that's exactly what I am. I'm just like this little nobody. You can just squish me with like your fingers and I would not exist in the world anymore. So So anyway, yeah, so anyhow, so I hope that the whole idea behind the bucket fillers and bucket dippers helped you a little bit, and that it helped you kind of think about who you are. Are you a bucket filler or a bucket dipper? I would assume that a lot of you out there who watch me are probably more than likely bucket fillers, just because it seems like a lot, I would say 100% of you who follow me are indeed bucket fillers, because all of you are wonderful people. So, uh, and so just kind of take that idea with you, take that um, thought process with you, and see if you can recognize those people in your life, the ones that are the bucket dippers or the ones who are bucket fillers. And the ones who are bucket fillers, fill their buckets a little bit, because I guarantee you a smile or a card or a little bit of something, even if it's a small gift, oh my God, trust me, you will make their day. You will make their day. Um, and and they will love you for it. They will. Indeed, they will love you, love you, love you to death. So that today was Self-Care Sunday. I hope that I helped you a little bit today. The video isn't quite so long. Tomorrow, I have a couple of things that I want to open up with you. I have a subscriber that sent me something that she didn't have to send. And I have a couple other things that I want to open. And then I have other things that I want to, we're going to do more crafting. It seems like everybody loves the resin pouring. And then probably after a couple more Let's Craft sessions, I will be opening an Etsy shop, so that you guys can maybe purchase some of the items if you want to. And then I want to, on Monday, be able to involve you in selecting colors for that Let's Craft session. My son did ask me to make a tray for him, but I'm going to make a couple more. And so I want to be able to get you guys to participate in making those trays. And then the finished product will be going into an Etsy shop. And then you guys can help me also pick a shop name. Maybe I'll just stick with the name of this channel as the shop name. And then I'm hoping that maybe you guys will buy a few things from me, and that'll also help me fund some things, you know, that I want to keep the channel going. And then also, again, I do have a Venmo, I have a Cash App. I'll put that in the description. I do still have a giveaway going. You've got about a little over a week left till the giveaway is done. You can have a chance to win one of the Mary Maxim mystery bags, along with one of my resin items. And then I also have some other things to unbox as well. And then other fun things coming down the pike. I have lots of things that I really want you guys to be able to have fun with. So like, subscribe, share if you can, follow me on Instagram, and then comment below on what you think, what your thoughts on our bucket fillers and bucket dippers. And you know, if there's other things that you want to discuss, I think for next week Sunday's self-care Sunday, I will be discussing more in depth about fibromyalgia and all of that stuff. So if there is anything else that you would like to learn, I will and am willing to discuss it, talk in depth with it if you want to. So reach out to me via email or put a comment down below. Until tomorrow, I will talk to you all later. Bye.